The ANC in Tshwane has brought several allegations of misconduct against the Metro Speaker. The party alleges that Murunwa Makwarela breached a code of conduct for councillors. This was revealed just a day before the second sitting of the council. Well, tracking that story for us this afternoon is eNCA reporter Pule Letshwiti-Jones, joining us now live from Tshwane. Pule, what's been happening there? What seems to be the main issue, and what is the latest you can tell us about this story?
Well, yes, council has descended into chaos since the early hours of this morning, and it seems as though the items are not moving. Rather, one could say they're moving at a snail pace, and we're not seem to be reaching a conclusion as to the commencement of this council meeting. One of those important items there included the draft adjustment budget, which speaks to, the acceleration of service delivery. And of course, once there's a disruption like this, we cannot get to that item. And what we've seen now is that the ANC, and earlier on there was a call from Action SA as well, that the Speaker should be recused from chair regarding what they have dubbed as these serious allegations linked to his name. They're saying that he's not fit to hold office and has abused his power as well while his office. Those are the allegations that have been made by the opposition parties, but I'm joined by, of course, the Action SA leader here, that Mashab was going to be giving us clarity. In fact, he's also accompanied by a few members from the party, including Mr. Bongosi and, of course, Mr. John Moody. Dr. Mashab, thank you very much for joining us on eNCA. Now, what we've seen here is that council has descended into chaos. We've also heard about the party, or one of your members as well, calling for the recusal of the chair. Do you think, or rather, are you confident still in this coalition agreement?
Well, I think it's a really very unfortunate situation. This is total thuggery of public representatives. You can imagine the city of Tshwane has got such massive backlog. Service delivery is failing out there. For the ANC to actually use this motion, which was not part of the programming, to really be discussed before any business of council can really proceed. It's really very unfortunate. I don't really believe it is outside the legal framework for the Speaker to recuse himself. They have agreed as a coalition partners, and in fact some of the other parties right now in council, that let them proceed and this matter be referred to the rules and ethics and then be brought to council, because right now we're talking about an allegation. So you can imagine a matter of allegation is actually holding service delivery, it's holding the business of council since 10 o'clock this morning. Right now it's 4 o'clock. It's really very unfortunate what the ANC is doing, and it's really up to civil society out there. The residents of city of Tshwane, please really look at the thuggery that's really happening with the public representatives that you've actually represent you. You elected them to really serve you, not really serve their own personal interest.
So you're worried against the allegations linked against the Speaker as well?
Yeah, well, look, I think if they're bringing allegations, no one is obviously saying the allegations are true or not, but there's general consensus that let this matter be taken to the rules and ethics for further investigation and be brought to council like all the other matters that are brought to council. But you cannot just hijack council, bring in a matter that what if the allegation is not true? And for us as an Action SA and our coalition partners, we are not obviously against this matter being brought to council, but let it be brought to council in a manner that is consistent with all the items that are normally brought to council.
One of your caucus leaders here in Tshwane, of course, Mr. Abel Dow, was removed from his position. Why was it the case?
Well, I think, because this matter was not supposed, the Speaker was not supposed to have entertained it in the first place. And I think that's why the team had our coalition partners. And the agreement is that this matter cannot really be entertained, because if you allow such precedents today, now it must be entertained to go really going forward. This matter should not have really been entertained in the first place, because any matter coming before council must obviously be approved beforehand. You cannot just really bring matters, more especially of an allegation nature. And whether it's true or not, allow the process to unfold, take it to the rules and ethics, and obviously if the Speaker is guilty, then yes, council will then take appropriate action against the Speaker in the future.
Just again, your caucus leaders, one of your caucus leaders, Mr. Abel Dow, There are rumors and allegations that he was removed from his post. He's also an Action SA member. We just want to know why was that the case?
Removed from as a caucus leader?
From his position?
No, yes. I think for us as Action SA, we are a strategic party when we deploy people to really be able to discharge their responsibility. I think, you know, for Mr. Tau to really be responsible for caucus in a council that is so dysfunctional, and also at the same time run a very, very important portfolio of housing with massive housing portfolios, we decided strategically that it will be in the interest of our city for Mr. Tau to focus on his mayoral responsibility and get someone else equally competent to really run caucus, so that we don't conflate and ensure that we put our people to actually fail.
Just the last question. It's a matter of national interest. What's your comment on, the resignation of course, KZN leader, former Action SA member, Dr. Makwarela, who's also dubbed the party as a DA light party, but further saying she was used to gun a lot of numbers for you in KZN. What's your stance? I mean, you went on Twitter recently and saying also that you don't have time for people with, issues such as what she has done. I don't know who you were mentioning, but one would think that you were referring to her.
You know what, Makwarela, I can only, as Action SA, wish her all of the best in her future endeavors. And that's how I would really like to really close it. All of the best with her future. That's all I can say about
it. If she came back, will you welcome her?
She took the decision to resign from the party initially, and we accepted it. And when we accepted, that's when she wanted to change her mind. We don't operate like that. I think Dr. Makwarela, like others, she's water under the bridge, and we move forward. Let her move forward in her life, and we wish her everything of the best.
She says you listen to the likes of Michael Bowman, and you don't have a spine. She's made accusations again that there seems to be no leadership within the party. What do you say on that?
We don't respond to hallucinations. I think we operate in a normal world. So obviously, if people hallucinate and expect us to deal with their hallucinations, unfortunately, something that Action SA must be left out of such matters.
Hallucinations it is. Thank you very much, Mr. Mashaba from Action SA, telling us about that matter there with, or rather, what one would call, Brad Dan, as a spat that took place between himself and Dr. Makwarela. But of course, those are just matters, or rather, internal affairs that Action SA has been encountering. But when you bring it down to local level, which I think is quite important, is that adjustment budget is worth around 1.2 billion. It has to be passed so service delivery can continue in the city of Tshwane. It speaks to issues of infrastructure development. It speaks to issues of electricity and water. So once the supply chain is disturbed, you cannot have service delivery continue, which is what we're seeing right now with the political squabbling happening between the ANC and the Speaker, of course, who was representing the multi-party coalition, which includes Action SA, DA, COPE, Freedom Front Plus, and other parties as well. But Dan, for now, back to you. We'll continue to monitor this council sitting and whether these disruptions will go into the evening. We're hoping not, but we'll be giving you live feedback from here in the city of Tshwane.
Thank you very much, Pule Letshwiti-Jones.